The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live. Monday morning, 11:30-ish here on the main event podcast. Of course, I'm Stephen McCollum. Man, a lot going on in the world of sports today, and it's amazing just the prep in the last hour or so. I've had to ask
as well, brought some pressure there. Got Brandon Peters. Blake Hayes, how about this? With the fade, he's going to keep it. He's got a first down.
Surprise for everybody.
As Nebraska ran.
A little preview for everybody there. Forgot to turn that off. Oops. So, after a splendid start, of course, I'm Stephen McCollum. Let's get into it, man. There's so much to talk about today on the recap over what happened this weekend. We're not even going to be able to touch on it all. First, I wanted to touch on college basketball because that's coming up here. Starting this week for a lot of schools it's not, right? COVID issues are happening. Some people are canceling. Cancellations everywhere with college basketball. It's going to be an interesting season for college basketball. Let me check the sound here really quick. All right, perfect. And then, so it's going to be a rough start to the beginning of the season. It's going to be interesting to see how basketball deals with all of these issues that have come up, especially with the teams. But let's get into it, and let's talk about some local news here, right? First of all, Grand Canyon University faces off, I believe, against Grambling on Wednesday night. Their schedule is such a mess. Their site is a mess. It has an old schedule on there. I think they're playing Grambling on Wednesday night. I don't know right now. Maybe I'll find out when I get to the station later to fill in for the on the blender again this week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And maybe we'll have who they play. But as of now, I think it's Grambling. According to everything I see, it's Grambling, right? But the only reason I bring this up is, of course, 1580 The Fanatic is the home of the GCU Lopes. And they play Wednesday night. Which means, guys, I'll be on the blender from 3 to 6 as of now. And then we will do a minimal main event show on Wednesday night. We're going to go until about 6:40. I'll get the final details later on today. But there will be a show Wednesday night. It will be short. It will be only 40 minutes. We will talk NFL probably the whole time, do our picks, discuss the season, the weekend coming up, especially because Thursday's Thanksgiving and we get, 3 or 4 games? 3 games on Thanksgiving Day. So there will be a show, but it'll just be short. I know, I'm sorry. So that's why we're here on Monday. The other thing I wanted to announce is really quick is, of course, we're going to keep the Monday show. We have the Wednesday night radio show that goes on the radio and, of course, hits the podcast system. And then we're going to move from Thursday to Friday podcasts. That's why we weren't on last week, was getting that schedule situated. And then this Friday, I am unknown if we're going to be able to do a show or not. I do have a 2-day event out at the racetrack, the Copper Classic out there. So I'm unsure if I will be able to get a show in on Friday. But I will get that together and post it this week. After that, then we're going to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, starting definitely next week. So it'll be a good time for all, right? Keep it consistent. The other college basketball news is ASU did cancel their matchup versus Baylor this weekend in Connecticut. The Baylor coach tested positive for COVID. The team has tested negative most of the part, but ASU has withdrawn from the Empire Classic basketball tournament. They are still going to travel to Connecticut, and they might play some other teams in the Mohegan Sun, which is where the tournament goes on at. As we go, because there's a lot of concern about COVID, especially with Connecticut. ASU is not the only school that expressed some concerns about them playing in this. It's just ASU's taking the heat right now, and people on Twitter are saying ASU's afraid of Baylor. Come on, that's not even close to what's happening. This is not a Florida State situation that we're going to get into when we get to college football here in a minute. Um, this is other teams as well that are concerned about it because this would have been a great tournament, right? You had Baylor, who's number 2 ranked. You have Villanova in this tournament, who's number 3 ranked, and of course Boston College. But Arizona State is still planning to travel to Connecticut, the Mohegan Sun, this week. Florida did withdraw from its event. It's a separate tournament at the Mohegan Sun on Sunday because of positive COVID tests within their program. So the Sun Devils could join that program. But basically, the point behind this is that a lot of question marks in college basketball right now with the season kicking off. And who knows what's going to happen. But I was looking forward to that opening tournament against number 2 and then possibly number 3 Villanova if they won or lost. The matchup happens. So just some quick. I know we don't spend a lot of time on college basketball this time of year, but with everything going on, it's something that should be brought up, and we brought it up, of course. And we'll move on, right? The NBA. There's some news in the NBA really quick that we need to touch on. The Suns have made. There's a lot of moves going on in the NBA right now with free agency happening. And before we get into college football, of course. Things to discuss is we could discuss all the NBA moves, but we'd be here for an hour and a half because there's been a lot of them and a lot more are coming. Of course, the draft was last Wednesday night. We covered that on the radio show, and also what that move means. Suns took the power forward, but some other moves really quick. This morning, the announcement was that Dario Saric stays with the Phoenix Suns on a 3-year, $27 million deal. Basically, he's the 8th man of the team. Some people didn't want him to return. They don't think he's very good. Obviously, the Suns thought he was good. He's a great 8th man on the team. 3-year deal, $27 million to stay with the Suns. I got to sneeze, so if I sneeze in a minute, excuse me. Suns also reached a 3-year deal with Jay Crowder, who was with the Miami Heat last year. Obviously went to the NBA Finals against the Lakers, and a 3-year deal worth approximately $30 million. He was, of course, a key postseason contributor for the Miami Heat last year when, like I said, they went to the Finals. He became an unrestricted free agent after completing the last season of a 5-year, $35 million contract he signed with the Celtics in 2015. But he's a big defensive guy, strong defensive guy, which is what the Suns kind of need. And he posted playoff averages of 12 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 1.9 assists. Of course, he was traded to Miami in February when the Memphis Grizzlies traded him for a lot of players. And, I mean, Crowder's a traveling guy, but he was solid for the Heat in the playoffs. A good pickup by the Suns. Gives you that defensive presence that they do need on that team. Also, the Suns have re-signed third-year guard Javon Carter, agreeing to a 3-year, $11.5 million deal with the Suns. So he's coming back, just another guard, of course, backing up, CP3 and those guys. And so the Suns are putting a team together that, like I said, and there's still room now. I've been talking about them bringing in a mid-level exception guy for this year, or what they call the biannual exception, which you can only use every 2 years. They still have room for that player to come in. So the Suns might not be done getting guys here to improve that team going forward into next year. So if expectations weren't playoffs after the CP3 trade, with the draft pick they've acquired, the signings they've had with Jay Crowder coming in, and the re-signings they've had, of course, they're going to lose a few players in free agency. Some guys, Baines is gone. Baines isn't coming back. And he was a solid player for the Suns there, but they're replacing him with some guys that could step up there. So it's going to be an exciting year for the Suns. Absolutely moving forward. So just some quick other things besides football I wanted to just touch on getting into this. It's exciting. I mean, let us know your whatever, your record, what your expectations are on the Suns going forward. It'd be interesting to know if you guys are as high on the Suns as I am. I'm not saying they're going to go championship level by any stretch, but they're going to win more than 34 games this year. They're going to get into the playoffs. They better get into the playoffs. So are they going to get into the playoffs as a 5 seed, 6 seed, 7 seed? I don't see why they can't get to a 6 or 7 seed. 44 wins should not be out of the realm of possibility for this team, which will get them in that mid-range in the playoffs, most likely going forward. So we talked college basketball, ASU going out of the Mohegan Sun tournament this weekend. Don't know what their schedule is going to be. Of course, the NBA. We talked about the Suns' moves that they've done the last couple of days. GCU plays Wednesday night. By all accounts, it's scrambling. Their schedule's all messed up. I'm not sure. I just know they're playing Wednesday night because the main event radio show is shortened. It's only going to be on until about 6:40 on Wednesday. I'll get all the details when I get in the studio today on there. But we will have a show. And as I said, I am filling in on the blender today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So I will be there also 3 hours beforehand also. So tune in if you'd like to there. Obviously on the blender, it's a different type of show, but it's a fun little show to have. It's a fun little show to be on. So join me there starting today again, like we have been doing. So college football. There's so much going on in the world. I narrow down unless we wanted to be on air for 5 hours, which of course can't do because I gotta get to the blender. But so much news going on in the world. College football from going from a boring week of no ranked teams playing each other to now all the drama that's occurring in college football. Teams that are playing are having some issues and everything. So Friday night, Friday night. I don't even know my days anymore. A little matchup that really didn't really matter to anybody, was, it was all right. Let's watch it. Purdue at Minnesota. Happens. Minnesota ends up winning this game 34-31. I just want to ask anybody on here. I put it out on Twitter at SBAC500. I put it out there and I said, if you've never seen a highway robbery ever happen in the broad daylight, you've seen it now. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Minnesota pulls this win out because the referees do what referees do. And, let's watch it. I don't want to influence it any more than I have. Let's watch this play. Oop. I just messed this up, guys. Give me 1 second. It's going to start playing anyway without me.
For pass interference. Working against Philip Howard. Oh, man.
I'll play it again here because, like I said, I kind of messed that up there. I apologize. Production sometimes doesn't go as smooth as I want, but here we go, right? Purdue's got the ball, driving down the field to take the lead to win the game. Here's the play that gets called back.
Pass interference.
87 there in the upper corner.
Oh, man.
Beautiful throw by the quarterback.
I don't see where the penalty is. That's a bad call.
Touchdown, Purdue.
That's a bad call.
As you hear from the announcers, they don't see it.
Nothing there. Oh, man.
So there is another angle here that I'm going to show you here because I think this is the most egregious call ever to happen in college football, in a long time at least. Ever is kind of a strong word. This is highway robbery by this referee. Not only that, did you see how late he threw that flag? So watch the closer play. Well, okay, let's watch the closer play, but watch where it happens and when he throws the flag 5 minutes later.
Around, it looked like Purdue was going to take the lead, but that extended right arm.
He extends his arm to a guy that isn't even pushed off. He's not even on him. He extends his arm out there. The guy is that far away. Barely touches him. So that happens, right? So you're not allowed to extend your arm. That's the technical view of the rule. But you have to push off on the guy for it to be a flag, right? In theory.
Around, it looked like Purdue.
Oh, I'm going to extend my arm. Oh, but the guy doesn't move at all. Joke of a call, right? But then on top of it, what's even more disgusting, I'm appalled by this. I'm one of those guys that just takes pass interference as refs are just stupid and they're going to make bad calls from time to time. But when they're this bad, it drives me batty, right? So we'll go back to the original one now. Watch how late this flag is thrown. You don't even see the extended arm anywhere in this throw, right?
And whistled for pass interference.
So 87's running out there, swipes at his arms, turns the corner.
Oh, man.
Ball's in the air, still no flag, catches it. There's the flag. What? Why are you throwing a flag 5 minutes after you supposedly see it? This is atrocious. This is a horrible call. This ref is just an absolute horrible human being for making this call. Now I'm attacking his character. It's just bad. It is highway robbery at the highest level. I couldn't believe it. I saw it live on Friday night. I watched the replays. I thought about it I tweeted out, of course, Saturday because I wanted to think about it overnight so I wasn't crazy weird about it. And it's atrocious. It was just atrocious. And it cost Purdue the win. And I don't care if Purdue or Minnesota wins. They're both not very good programs. They're in the Big Ten this year. I could care less. But referees making that call is so bad. Just absolutely ridiculous. And drives you nuts. So on Saturday, let's move to something funny. Because that was so bad. I'm trying not to swear it was so bad. That's how bad it was. I just want to rip this ref up and down. It's so bad. I can't handle it. Mikkel says, check both his bank accounts and under his mattresses. He was probably paid for that call. Yeah, I mean, right? Gambling is breaking into sports right now. Gambling, referees there's ways around letting people know you gamble. You can have a buddy of yours. You can pay a buddy of yours to place bets. I'm not saying that's happening. That's conspiracy theory talk right there. But that call is so egregious. And people say refs don't cost you games. Well, in certain instances, they do. When it's a play like that, so late in the game, and it's a touchdown play and you don't score after that, that ref costs them the game right there. It needs to be checked into. I don't know how they do background checks on these guys to see what they're doing, but that is so bad. I'm leaning toward conspiracy theory on this one because that was a god-awful call by a guy and if he would have thrown the flag immediately, I would have said he saw it and threw it, right? He waited for that ball almost to be caught. What was that, 5 seconds after it happened? You can't wait that long if you're sure about it. He sat there and thought about it and then threw the flag, and that's where it's egregious. If he would have thrown it right away, I would have been on board. I would have been like, hey, he saw that, he threw the flag. But he waited to throw the flag, and that's the problem I have with it. It's because that means he either didn't see it, he saw the aftermath of it, or he was like, he's catching this, I better throw this flag because they're about to win the game. That's not good. That's not a good look. So I kind of agree with you, Mikkel. I'm on that conspiracy theory side, kind of, sort of. But in another game, and this is funny, right? You have Illinois against Nebraska. Nebraska's been struggling all year. Struggled again this weekend against Illinois, right? They lost to Ohio State. The Wisconsin game was canceled. Northwestern they lost to. Penn State they won. Nebraska did. And then they got Illinois this week. And they lose to Illinois. They're just, Nebraska's not a good team. Again. People say it's because it's the conference name, which they don't fit in the Big Ten. There's no doubt they do not fit in the Big Ten. They don't play Big Ten football. They don't match up well against Big Ten football. Absolutely. But they cannot win anything. And it's not the conference's fault why they can't win. If you can't adjust to the conference, it's your fault. So they go and they get beat 41-23 against Illinois this weekend. So, you know, Lovie Smith's had a tough year. He gets them to the playoffs, gets them to the bowl game last year for the first time in like 100 years. I know it's an exaggeration, but a long time. Bowl game. The Fighting Illini. Lost to Wisconsin, opened up the season, lost to Purdue, lost to Minnesota. They did beat Rutgers, and now they beat Nebraska. And then they get, your payback is now that you're 2-3 is Ohio State on the 28th. So good luck to you, Illinois, right? But something funny happened in this game that was just absolutely splendid. Illinois gets stopped. Nebraska does a great job. And Nebraska's in black jerseys for this game. I know it's confusing. Illinois is in their white jerseys with their orange helmets. But Nebraska stops them. Punt time. Let's watch this punt here. I know you saw at the beginning of the show, but let's watch it again. Takes a minute to load, I know.
Spence as well brought some pressure there. Got Brandon Peters. Blake Hayes, how about this? With the fake, he's going to keep it. He's got a first down as Nebraska ran.
So, I cannot stop laughing at this. This is so funny. He jukes nobody as he's running. Let's watch that again. So the first juke, it's kind of like he wants to run outside. Then he's in open field. The nearest Nebraska guy is 10 yards away from him roughly. And he makes a juke play like he's going to stop him. Then he runs to the sideline. Oh, gosh, this is great. What a great punt, fake punt here by the Illini here.
Spence as well brought some pressure there. Got Brandon Peters. Blake Hayes, how about this?
Who knows what he's doing there? But he's running. Look at this. Oh, he jukes him. He jukes nobody.
He's got a first down as Nebraska ran.
What is that? Oh, my God. Oh, I can't get enough of that. Oh, I know you guys are probably tired of seeing it, but I got to watch it again. That's so funny. What are you doing? It's so great. Wide open, run. What are you stopping for?
Spence as well brought some pressure there. Got
I don't even know what he's doing here. Like, I'm okay. He runs this way. Oh, jukes him.
He's got a first
Guys,
down.
10 yards away
Nebraska
from him. And he goes to juke the guy. Oh, God, that's great. Oh, God, can't stop laughing at that. That is the funniest thing ever. But they converted on it, and they won the game. So I guess the joke's on all of us, but I'm sorry. Who's he juking? Oh, so great. So great. So Illinois beat them, as you said there. But then another thing happened this weekend is Clemson gets on their plane, flies to Tallahassee for the Florida State game. Florida State cancels the game last minute because of COVID concerns. Right? I mean, they abruptly postponed it and late. So Dabo Swinney comes out. And I mean, full disclosure, Dabo Swinney rips them, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But so does most of college football rips Florida State for doing with it. It made them look like they were scared to play Clemson and they didn't want to play him. That's what it looks like. It looked like that's why they canceled the game. And they hid behind COVID for it. I have an issue with that. COVID's serious enough in sports to where you cannot fake COVID to cancel a game. And that looks like what Florida State did. And I have a huge problem with that. Like, this is going to sound bad, but you better have COVID cases and why you had to cancel. You better not be lying about that. Because it looks like Florida State's lying. That's not a good look. I do not like that at all. It's weaselly, and to use that excuse is even worse. So Dabo Swinney just totally goes after FSU's administration for the decision to cancel that game. Swinney yesterday on Sunday, he said that Clemson followed all required protocols when it traveled with a player who had shown prior symptoms of COVID-19, but did not receive a positive test result after the team arrived in Tallahassee on Friday night. Swinney implied that FSU's administrators wanted out of the game and used the positive test as an excuse to cancel. So Clemson follows all the rules, gets a guy on a plane, they land following all the ACC rules, which, by the way, Florida State and Clemson are both involved in. Swinney says, quote, because Florida State said we're canceling it because of concern for COVID and our health and safety of our athletes. So Dabo says, quote, yesterday on Sunday, he says, quote, this game was not canceled because of COVID. COVID was just an excuse to cancel the game. I have no doubt their players wanted to play and would have played, and same with the coaches. To me, the Florida State administration forfeited that game. Unquote. Florida State did decline to comment, yes, on Sunday. But, of course, Mike Norvell comes out, and he says in a statement, this is why they canceled it, as said, it's that the first priority is, quote, the health of our student athletes, unquote. And then Norvell, this is all Saturday when they canceled it. And then he says, I appreciate the protocols that have been put in place by FSU and the ACC to ensure everyone's health while allowing us to play this season. It's unfortunate that we will not have the opportunity to compete today, but we hope to be able to play Clemson in December. I am thankful for the support and coordination between our administration, Clemson, and our ACC office. Our team will now turn our focus to hosting Virginia next week. That's what they said Saturday when they canceled it. But Clemson followed all protocols and everything doing it, ACC protocols. Florida State just looks like they didn't want to play. They were scared. They didn't want to play them. They didn't want to get blown out by 50, so they canceled the game. And they used COVID as an excuse. I'm not okay with that. Nobody should be okay with that. It's a serious enough thing, regardless of what your stance is on COVID. Regardless, it could be whatever on the far left side, the far right, where you want to lock everything down. You can be on the far right side where you want everything open and not be afraid of it. That's inconsequential here. But what happens is in this environment, is players get COVID, you cancel games. They followed all the procedures to get there, and Florida State still canceled it and then blamed it with no other recourse other than made up fears, what it looks like. That's not good. You cannot fake this stuff at any point in time. Sweeney also says Sunday that this was not the first time a situation such as this has occurred this season. So basically, what Clemson is saying is this is the same thing they did with Trevor Lawrence before they played Boston College. Exact same situation. And then also with Notre Dame, he traveled even though he didn't have a positive test. ACC rules were followed completely. Florida State just chickened out, it looks like. Sweeney says the team, quote, met the standard of play, unquote, and, quote, mitigated everything, unquote, during meetings, practices, housing, travel. He also noted the, quote, circus tent, unquote, the school erected in the hotel parking lot for team meetings and meals. Florida State then said it had a similar situation earlier this year. It held back from travel a coach and player who had not yet tested positive but did show symptoms of the virus. Keep in mind, this player did not show symptoms. He just didn't have the positive test, but then Sweeney said he followed the ACC policy perfectly. Sweeney went on to say, so now we're changing the rules. You either trust the test or you don't. If the test is negative, we're going to tell guys they can't play anyway. That's why we test. If a guy has an earache or a runny nose and tests negative all week, and we're going to say we won't take you, you either trust the test or you don't, and the rules are what they are. There's been plenty of games played this year where guys were not positive one week and positive the next week. This is a virus. We all know what we're dealing with. The bottom line is the rules were put in play for everyone, and we more than met the standard, unquote. Clemson even says that they offered to undergo additional testing Saturday or Sunday, with the two teams then playing the game Sunday or Monday. But Florida State declined. Florida State ran away scared, and they blamed COVID for it. Even though that's not the issue here at all. It looks weaselly. It looks weak. And you don't call, what's that? You don't, what's that what you call wolf? Cry wolf. You don't cry wolf in this situation. So, Florida State was a 5-touchdown underdog in this game. Florida State announced a 20% budget cut for athletics in August and furloughs for employees last week. And then they didn't want to play this week. So you go ahead, reschedule this game. You're a 5-touchdown underdog. Oh boy, you need to move that up to a 6 or 7-touchdown underdog because Clemson is going to score as will on you, and they aren't going to stop with that shenanigans going on. Now, if they would have said, we got COVID, our players can't play, and they had it, nobody would be on them on it for it. It's that they look like they did it and use that as an excuse, and that's not acceptable. It cannot be acceptable in this world. Now, Mike Norvell, the coach of Florida State, comes out and this morning, all right, let me get to the part of the story. I'm sorry here. But Clemson's now saying that the game is made up. It needs to be made up in Clemson because they already traveled down there. They already spent over $300,000 to travel to Tallahassee for them to cancel the game when everybody was following all the rules. Florida State's hiding behind their doctors, saying the doctors wouldn't allow them to play. So Clemson's saying it needs to be played in Clemson. We're not wasting more of our time and money to go down there just to beat you so badly. It's a waste of our time. Clemson's telling Florida State, for us to travel to you again isn't worth our time because you guys suck. Mike Norvell responded on his regularly scheduled Monday teleconference saying Florida State did want to play, does plan to play the makeup next month, and the game will be in Tallahassee. And if Clemson needs to pass the hat to cover the return trip to Tallahassee, Norvell says he'll be happy to contribute. Then he goes on and says, Mike Norvell, head coach of Florida State, a really bad football team, folks. What is this, his first year? And they suck. They're just god-awful. They are the worst team ever. They are that bad. And Mike Norvell says, quote, everyone here was excited and wanted the opportunity to compete. The protocols that are in place to ensure the health and well-being of our athletes, we don't take lightly. And then he says, a little dig to Dabo. Football coaches are not doctors. Some of us think we are. It's a little dab at Dabo. Mike Norvell goes on to say, when we have a player who is showing symptoms, we keep them away from the facility. Not only is the health of our players important, it's for the safety of our opponents. He tested negative all week. He had a runny nose. They're not, I guarantee you, maybe that's why Florida State's so bad. Maybe they're keeping players that have a little common cold out. It just looks bad for Florida State. They're a god-awful team. They suck horribly. And they canceled the game and hid behind COVID. I'm not okay with that. Just say you don't want to play it. Don't hide behind COVID. That's irresponsible. And that's bad. Norvell goes on to attack Clemson a little bit by saying, quote, if other teams want to practice symptomatic players, that's their decision, unquote. Norvell also says and attacks Clemson a little bit and says, other schools can handle themselves however they want. They can practice symptomatic players. But when it comes to our student athletes and their well-being, we're going to rely on our medical advisors to make the best call. He also said he called Dabo on Saturday morning, but was unable to connect with him. Why? You weren't playing. How could you not get a hold of him? Was he busy getting ready for a football game that wasn't playing because you chickened out? Mike Norvell used to be here at Arizona State. Of course, went to some other places too. He's the next fired coach at Florida State. He's not going to turn around that program. They suck. They're awful. They can't get players there. They make horrible decisions, and this is just another one, hiding behind COVID instead of manning up and getting your ass beat on the field like it deserves to be. Enjoy that rematch because you're going to get your butt kicked even more. Of course, we do a 5-game pick'em. It's an all-access crew member, Mikkel, against me in college football. Woo-wee. What a week. After my 0-4 start, because one game was canceled, I've done all right the last couple of weeks. This week's games were Indiana at Ohio State, Wisconsin at Northwestern, Oklahoma State at Oklahoma, Tennessee at Auburn, Arizona at Washington, and USC at Utah. He emailed me his picks over the deal since we didn't get a showing on Friday. While we've been moving things around, I wasn't able to get it up. You guys will just have to trust us on this one. But of course, Ohio State beat Indiana. Fantastic game. Indiana came back. They showed up in this game. Indiana's better than y'all give them credit for their first loss. Ohio State showed some flaws this weekend also for the first time, which we've been waiting for, right? Wisconsin at Northwestern. Northwestern's back, baby. Pat Fitzgerald has them back after last year struggling. They are undefeated still. Oklahoma State at Oklahoma. Oklahoma dominated that game. I don't know why. I picked Oklahoma State in that one. I don't know why. Tennessee at Auburn. Arizona at Washington and USC at Utah. Of course, we did 6 because we're trying to get back to even amount of games since we've had a couple games canceled on us. One game the first week canceled on us. So Mikkel went 4-2. His wins were Ohio State, Oklahoma, Auburn, and Washington. His losses were Wisconsin and Utah. I went 4-2, but I had Ohio State, Auburn, Washington, and USC winning. I lost with Wisconsin, and yes, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma's kind of waking up a little bit, and Oklahoma State is kind of not waking up a little bit. So, yeah. So, we both went 4-2 in the college pick'em. I mean, in terms of other big games this weekend, wasn't very many upsets. Alabama dominated Kentucky. Of course, they're ranked number 1. As I said, Ohio State beat Indiana 42-35. Florida killed Vanderbilt. Cincinnati's still winning, but they barely beat UCF 36-33. BYU, number 8 ranked. Everybody's watching them, 66-14 over Northern Alabama. Oregon did beat UCLA, barely 38-35. Oregon is not the school everybody thought they were. They aren't good. They're barely winning their games this year, right? As they go forward. NC State beat Liberty this weekend, 15-14. So Hugh Freeze gets his first loss by 1 point in NC State. We already talked about Illinois beating Nebraska. LSU beat Arkansas barely, 27-24. For you SEC fans and watching this fall of LSU a little bit this year. Iowa beat Penn State. James Franklin. Where has that team fallen to, right? They had high hopes this year. Ofer still. Ofa. 0-5. It just, wow. Does James Franklin survive this? I asked that question last week. All right, Mikhail says, good job on the picks. Hey, man, good luck in your meeting. He has a meeting to run to, so good luck on your meeting, man. I appreciate you listening. And then Oregon State beat Cal this weekend. Cal had high hopes, and they've lost 2 now. Cal was supposed to be one of the favorites up there in the north. South Carolina, yeah, firing your head coach, Will Muschamp, wasn't the move, obviously, because you just lost to Missouri 17-10. Now, the interesting thing that happened, of course, Washington killed Arizona. It wasn't even a ball game. That's the Arizona team we all thought we were going to run into and see. Boy, did they show up that way. But the game that I want to talk about, just a minute, Michigan at Rutgers. We've talked about how Jim Harbaugh's on the hot seat. They've struggled. If they would have lost to Rutgers, yikes. They barely won that game. 48-42. 3 overtimes, folks. 3. Whew. Does Jim Harbaugh survive this year? Is it just a COVID year? He's got a super young team, a lot of sophomores, a lot of freshmen. Doesn't have a quarterback at all. At least he beat Rutgers, but is he going to survive this year? It's something I'm watching. Putting some stuff together. I had a big thing I put together on it on who you're going to get better than him. Michigan coaches haven't performed. The last 3 or 4 of them haven't performed at all. I'm kind of waiting to bring out with that because I kind of want to see where Michigan goes on this. If you get rid of Harbaugh with this young team, is it worth it? Something to keep an eye on. Going forward, absolutely. So the new rankings came out as we wrap up college football here. Alabama Crimson Tide, unanimous number 1 still, obviously. No reason to knock them down. Notre Dame still number 2. Ohio State's number 3 still, and Clemson still number 4. Texas A&M's 5. I've been telling you guys all along, watch Texas A&M. They have the ability to sneak into this. Ohio State or Clemson falters, or even Notre Dame falters. Texas A&M's going to be in this. Florida's 6. Cincinnati, BYU, 7 and 8. Miami's 9. Oregon's 10. Even though they're barely winning their football games, they're still ranked high. Northwestern, with their win this weekend against Wisconsin, sneaks in at 11. Indiana's 12. I want to see that matchup. Northwestern, Indiana. Fantastic, right? They got Georgia. Oklahoma's back up to 14 after their abysmal start. I mean, they didn't have a good year. Coastal Carolina's stuck at 16. Wisconsin slides to 18 with their loss to Wisconsin. USC's up to 19. Texas is 20. Oklahoma State goes all the way down to 21. Then it's Auburn, Louisiana, Tulsa, and North Carolina. So we'll have to see this week. I got something in my eye. We'll have to see this week if Arizona State gets their game in. We'll have a later on that, either Wednesday night or podcast Friday. We'll see what happens. Friday morning, probably get one in there. So let's get to it. We have, obviously, that was all the college football from the weekend. Tons of news. Tons of news in the NFL as well. Lots of games yesterday that were fantastic games. Fantastic games. Breaking news this morning, the Ravens have multiple COVID cases. They're shutting down their facilities. It's not good. Of course, we talked about it last week where the NFL needed to, everybody had to go into the extreme protocols, whatever that is, right, for the rest of the year with everything spiking, and now the Ravens have a bunch of deals. Injuries yesterday, the notables, Joe Burrow goes down for the season, torn ACL. Took that huge hit by, holy cow, I forgot his name, by that defensive lineman. Took a huge hit. Then he gets tangled up a little bit with his knee, tears his ACL out for the season. It's bad. I mean, he's growing. He's going to be a phenomenal quarterback. Maybe this is the wake-up call for the Cincinnati Bengals to get some offensive linemen in there, help the brother out. Tua, who's been playing all right, gets benched for bad play, but they came out and said he's still going to be their starting quarterback. Of course, Ryan Fitzpatrick went in the fourth quarter yesterday to try to win that game. They were playing the Broncos, a game they should have won. I was questioning this last week where I said, I want to see how the Dolphins respond now that they're not going to sneak up on anybody. They won 5 in a row. Teams aren't going to overlook them anymore. And we saw that happen this week where the Broncos didn't overlook them. I do question Brian Flores, who I love as a head coach, and I love this Dolphins team. They play hard for him. But I do question why you pull him out in that situation. I understand he wasn't playing well. What does that do for his confidence? Is that the right move? You did the right thing by saying that he was then going to continue to be the starter, but now he's going to be looking over his shoulder every time he makes a mistake. Brian Flores says, quote, Tua wasn't injured. We just felt like it was the best move at that point of the game. We had to get in 2-minute mode, and we felt like Fitzpatrick gave us the best chance to win the game. And we had an opportunity at the end to tie it. Absolutely did. It wasn't the wrong move to bench Tua. I'm not going to tell you it was. It wasn't. It was the right move. Confusing my words. The Dolphins trailed 20-10 when he was benched. The team needed a spark. They needed to speed up their offense. Tua probably doesn't have the 2-minute drill nailed down yet. That's why you went to it. But just what does that do for his confidence? We don't know. Well, guess we're going to find out, huh? I mean, Tua was 11 for 20 passing, 83 yards, a touchdown. Didn't move the ball very much for the Dolphins offense. He was sacked 6 times. Tua says the right things. I like this. He says, quote, "My thoughts here, whatever was going to be best for the team. When I was in, we really couldn't get things going. Coach felt like it was best to put Fitz in to give us a spark. When I heard that, I was really what's best for the team. If we were to win with Fitz in there, the locker room would be different. Everyone would be a lot happier. It just sucks to lose." He's saying the right things. But one thing I will say on this is when they made the switch back to Fitz, woo-wee, they woke up. The Dolphins were a different team. That's not good moving forward. That the team woke up when Fitz was in there. Not good at all for the young guy. Fitzpatrick even said, quote, "It's very clear that this is Tua's team. Tua's going to continue to get better and grow. For me, my defined role is whatever the team needs out of me. There's no controversy. This is his team. He's going to lead this team and continue to lead the team," unquote. As I said, I get it. I question the move a little bit. I question when they went to Tua. And I question when you pull a guy out when he's that young. But the team, they even make it worse, the team sparked when Fitz went in there. So what happens this week when Tua comes out and the team's flat again? He's going to be looking over his shoulder. You're going to pull him again and put Fitz back in there? Because then why don't you just stick with Fitz? If the team plays better with Fitz, why don't you stick with him? Are the Dolphins setting up for a bad decision here, and it's going to affect their play? Because there's none of this, we're waiting for next year, we're getting ready for next year stuff. You're in the midst of a playoff run, Miami Dolphins. Are you going to ruin it by making these quarterback decisions? Is the question. Okay, earlier this year, I was giving Carson Wentz some leeway, right? I said earlier in the year my 1 foot was off the Carson Wentz bandwagon. I didn't think he was a bad quarterback, probably better than average. Folks, that foot has been dangling off that thing all season long, and I am officially off that wagon. Carson Wentz has no confidence. Carson Wentz doesn't know what's going on out there. He needs a change of scenery better than anybody does, whether it be a head coach change or he needs to go. And can he resolve? He looks unconfident out there. He doesn't understand what's going on. So is it coaching or is it him? Because he didn't play this way before. And interesting quote by Eagles head coach Doug Peterson. He said he's sticking with the quarterback Carson Wentz. He says, quote, "If you get to the spot where you don't start him and you bench him, I think you're sending the wrong message to your football team that the season is over, and that's a bad message." Of course, the Eagles lost 22-17 to the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. Eagles are 3-6-1, but still first in that division. He says, quote, "We have to work through this. When times get tough, sometimes that might be the easy thing to do," unquote. The problem is you're not winning with him. It's been tough for a while. He's not helping your team at all. And I'm not sure going to Hurts as the backup is the right answer. But you got to try something because something's wrong with Wentz. Something's not clicking with him. Whether that's his fault, your coaching style fault, whatever it is, it's not helping. Wentz went 21 for 35 for 235 yards and 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, including that bad pick 6 that happened. He was sacked 5 times, including a safety. Something's wrong in Eagle Land with Carson Wentz and that. But this brings me to the bigger question. Is Doug Peterson in trouble? Felt like he was safe, right? The Eagles are playing so bad, though. Yeah, they have a lot of injuries, but they're playing bad. The ownership cannot be happy. They should be running away with this division with the talent they have on there. I say yes. I have moved Doug Peterson from the safe seat to the extremely warm seat. Extremely warm. Meaning, if they don't start playing better this week, he's going to go on the hot seat. This is embarrassing for the Eagles ownership. And the quarterbacks doesn't have any confidence. I'm not saying going to Hurts is the right answer. You need to do something, though. You need to figure it out because this team isn't good. Doug Peterson has moved on my very, very warm seat as of now. Cowboys did win this weekend, and Ezekiel Elliott speaks. They got to 3-7. And Ezekiel Elliott says, quote, "The Cowboys are right where we need to be in the NFC East." He says, "We never thought we were out of it. Our division's been struggling this year. We're right where we need to be with what's going on in the division. We've got to build on the success so we can't come out on a short week and take a step back against a division opponent. We've got to make sure we build on the success to keep getting better." I get why he's saying that, but I'm still going to make fun of him. You're not right where you want to be. Your team is awful. Your team has so much talent and isn't performing. Yeah, you have quarterback issues right now, but you're 3-7. You're not right where you want to be. I understand he's saying that because they're still in this division race because everybody's 3-7 except for the Eagles who are 3-6-1. So they're in first place. So I get the sentiment on that side, but it's still not the thing to say. It looks ridiculous. I'm going to make fun of you for it. Of course, the Cowboys beat Minnesota over the weekend. Just, Zeke, stop saying stuff like that in public, please. I know I said it. Other news, the Jets are eliminated from the playoffs with their loss on Sunday and the Colts win. Yeah, the Jets are eliminated from any chance at the playoffs at 0-10, I think they are now, right? So no wild cards, no anything. Out. Week 11 is a ridiculous time to be eliminated from the playoffs. But I just have another example of dysfunction going on in the Jets organization and why this team sucks so bad. This tweet comes up and says, so Adam Gase gave up his play calling earlier this year and gave it to somebody else, some offensive coach, whatever. I don't know who he is. Doesn't matter. He's not going to be there after this year. They're all going to get fired. But there was questions all week, and then after this game, is Adam Gase still playing the play calls? Because he's calling the plays into the quarterback. Of course, it's Joe Flacco. After that, Gase said he did not take back play calling duties. Dowell, who's the guy that does the play calling now, tells Adam Gase the plays, and then Gase tells the quarterback. What? That guy can't just radio it into the quarterback and give Joe Flacco the plays. You have to do it. You're still making the plays. It's making a situation that's fairly easy really complicated. But it's just more dysfunction on why the Jets and Adam Gase sucks as a head coach. Right there. Just stupid. Just stupidity. Can't wait till he's gone. Tonight, of course, Monday night, we have Rams at Buccaneers coming up. I'm not going to do the 5-game pick'em scores because, of course, we have Monday Night Football tonight. So we still have one more game to go on there. So I'll put this out on Twitter and Facebook this week on the who picked well this week and who didn't. All Access crew, hosts, of course, Adam, Kaler, and, of course, Izzy has joined in and stuff. So I'll get that out on Twitter after tonight's game. By the way, the picks weren't great. So that's the other reason why I'm avoiding it, kind of. So we'll post that up here, talk about it. Other games this weekend, great game. Indianapolis Colts 34, Green Bay Packers 31, overtime. Both teams are 7-3 now, I do believe. And the Packers had to come back to tie this game up, right? Oh my God. First of all, referees, put your flags away. That last 2, 3, 4 minutes of that game was ridiculous with how much flags were on the ground. Never seen so much laundry. And I have 2 kids with a lot of clothes. Never seen so much laundry laying around. My favorite thing is somebody tweeted out, I don't have it in front of me, so I apologize to whichever blue checkmark it was, but they said that a flurry of flags that could rival the Olympic opening ceremony is made for one of the longest minutes of game clock burned in history of football. That's great. Great. Of course, Rodgers connected with Marquise Valdez-Scantling on a 47-yard strike down the middle. So Mason Crosby kicked the field goal after that play, roughly, to score the game-tying field goal to go into overtime. The only reason I bring that up, man, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. Marquise Valdez-Scantling in overtime fumbled in Packers territory, allowing the Colts to kick the game-winning field goal right after that. So you go from the hero to the GOAT in a matter of minutes. Indianapolis won this game, though. Their defense is good. Phillip Rivers, if he doesn't do stupid things, this team is good. AFC is stacked this year, right? With the Steelers and everybody. Chiefs. But Colts are good. That defense can win them some games and can do some upsets here. Right? Excellent game, though. Overtime game. Fantastic game to watch. Last night, Sunday Night Football, Chiefs and Raiders. Raiders have come into their own. Their running game, these last 2 games, before that it still struggled. These last 2 games against the Broncos and the Chiefs, they've dominated the game. The Raiders kept the ball out of Kansas City's hand as long as they could. But Kansas City did come back. The Raiders had the game with, 2 minutes to go roughly? And the Chiefs drove down the field and scored. Patrick Mahomes struggled. This Kansas City offense is still struggling to click. And they're still winning games. The Raiders are going to be extremely good in another year or 2 years. Derek Carr, last 2 weeks, has been one of the highest rated quarterback performances in the last 2 weeks. Carr is not the problem there. The running game has stepped up. The defense is a little lacking. Give them another year, 2 years. They're going to be stacked. Las Vegas has shown how to beat the Chiefs. And I've said it all along. You keep the ball out of the Kansas City Chiefs' hands for as long as possible in the game. The Raiders can do it. That's how you get them. Patrick Mahomes can't drive down the field and score with 1:37 if you don't give him the chance. Darren Waller, George Kittle, both tight ends for each team, lit it up last night. Fantastic tight end brilliance last night if you're a tight end guy. It was great. Great game. Great game. Chiefs, of course, drove down the field late to score a touchdown to win it. Fantastic game. Titans at Baltimore. I picked Titans in this game. Titans 30, Baltimore 24. Overtime. Ooh, breaking news. Really quick, Joe Burrow tore his ACL and MCL. So it's a bigger knee issue than originally thought. Just came up on my phone, an alert. Derrick Henry did not have a great game. I'm sorry. Derrick Henry won the game, didn't he, though? Even though he didn't play great. In overtime, that play was brilliant. Runs off tackle to the left, cuts it back across the middle, goes in for the touchdown to win the game in overtime. He had 36 yards on 13 carries at halftime last night. Didn't have very much in the third quarter. He had 96 by the end of regulation. 133 after breaking off a 29 game-winning TD in overtime for the Titans to win. Calais Campbell's still out. That Baltimore defense has some holes in it with Calais Campbell out. Baltimore played well in this game. Titans just outscored them. Titans are not a team to sleep on. They win at 30-24. Then the game I'm disappointed in. Falcons, Saints. I have no faith in Taysom Hill. I have no faith in Jameis Winston. Without Drew Brees in there, I expected the Falcons. Falcons scored 9 points. 24-9. Saints beat the Falcons. Taysom Hill isn't a quarterback, though, folks. He is not a quarterback. They won this game against a, decent to bad Atlanta Falcons game. We'll see what goes as the time goes on. They're not going to be able to play bad teams all along with them. I was reading on Twitter during this game that is Hill going to get benched for Jameis Winston? Is Hill going to get benched for Jameis Winston? That Saints defense played really well. That Saints defense is still good. They'll be able to keep that offense in these games by a lot. Of course, the Atlanta Falcons were without Julio Jones. He was in and out of the game on Sunday, hamstring. Only 21 snaps played, 5 in the second half. He's all they got on offense besides Matt Ryan. Happens. Houston and New England. Of course, the Cardinals' next opponent this weekend is New England at New England. Texans, man. Deshaun Watson's back, folks, for this game at least. 27-20, Houston Texans. He basically beat New England by himself. He spread the ball among 9 pass catchers, completing 28 of 37 passes for 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 121.9. He also was Houston's running game. They have 0 running game since David Johnson's been out with that concussion. Cam Newton looked decent in this game. Cardinals, this is an interesting matchup this weekend with the Cardinals. I'm going to preview that on the Cardinals Rewind, probably Wednesday as the injury reports come out for New England, and get that out. Of course, my review of the Cardinals-Seahawks game from Thursday is out. I put that out on Friday night. So definitely look that up on all your podcast systems, Google Play, Spotify, and also the video form is at the Main Event Pod. So click on that and find it and watch that and listen if you'd like. I'll have my preview out for this game this weekend. Steelers continue to be undefeated against the Jaguars, 27-3. I love all the hype last week of how, you got to watch out for Jacksonville. It's all just a smokescreen and a joke. Steelers defense is for real. I have a question, though, we need to think about. I'm just going to throw it out there now. We'll address it in the coming weeks. Steelers are 10-0. They have like 1 or 2 really good games coming up. They have the Titans coming up and Pittsburgh, and they have maybe another good team, but other than that, they're playing dogs. Titans go undefeated. Steelers go undefeated, let's say. Are they better than the Chiefs? Can they beat the Chiefs? I don't know. I have to think about that. Something to start thinking about. Steelers go undefeated. Can they make it to the Super Bowl and win it? They have some good teams in that AFC. Keep that in mind. Remember that. We're going to talk about that coming up in another podcast. So, go Dolphins and Broncos. We talked about that. Tua gets benched, not playing well. This is the game the Dolphins should have won. Was this the case of Dolphins can't sneak up on anybody, so they ran into a team that was prepared to face them, knew they'd be into a thing? I don't know. We'll have to keep watching these Dolphins moving forward. But I like them. I like this team. I talked about it earlier. I wonder about the ego or the mind of Tua being benched in this game. Throw some question marks into this. Talked about it earlier. Cowboys, Vikings. Cowboys won a game, folks. 3-7 now. Woohoo! 31, Vikings 28. Ezekiel Elliott showed up, everybody. He does still play. His $90 million wallet is not too heavy for him anymore, and he won last night. Cracked the 100-yard mark. First time all season. Andy Dalton was back. Was he efficient enough to get him to win the game? CeeDee Lamb made an unbelievable touchdown pass. If you didn't see that catch, fantastic. I tried to find the video on that and I couldn't. So this was a hard-hitting game. Dalvin Cook needed a face mask repair after a goal line collision. He was later shaken up on a vicious but clean hit over the middle from safety Donovan Wilson. I'm going to show you this play. You guys want to play in the NFL? Anybody here think the NFL is kind of a weak thing, right? Oh, these players aren't tough. When you watch it on TV, you're far enough away, you don't see the hits the way they are. When you sit down low, these guys are fast, and these guys hurt. These guys are out to do damage. Watch this ground level of Dalvin Cook going across the middle, catching this ball, and watch how he gets hit, unfumbles the ball. It's amazing. This is how fast and how hard these guys take. Want to play in the NFL? Well, here you go, folks. Wow. Ouch. I understand why you're shooken up. The rest of us would have died. Fantastic. But I mean, this game is fast. These men are huge. They're fast. I mean, you just see how fast he stopped running across that middle there and just trying to hold on to the ball. Woo! Hard-hitting game. Love it. Love it. The Eagles face the Browns, of course. We talked about this. 22-17. Cleveland Browns beat the Eagles. Bad weather again in Cleveland. Like, how many bad weather games has Cleveland had? Gosh, forever now, right? Like a month or so. Nick Chubb's back. Kareem Hunt's doing well. Baker Mayfield. Oh, stat of the day. I know I've talked about this stat before, but congratulations to Carson Wentz, winningest quarterback in that Browns stadium history, the one they currently play in. Congratulations. He takes Ben Roethlisberger's spot, a quarterback that hasn't ever played for the Browns, as the winningest quarterback in that stadium that they currently play in. So congratulations, Baker Mayfield. Finally, a Browns quarterback holds that record. We talked about Carson Wentz already. Bengals versus Washington football team. Washington football team, I told you all was going to win this. 20-9 over the Bengals. Another hard-hitting game. Joe Burrow, of course, was carted off. I just said some more breaking news where he tore his ACL and MCL. He's out for the rest of the season. Get ready for next year. Of course, the injury came. Pocket collapsed on him. Looking downfield. Guys fell down onto his legs after he threw the ball. I did find it interesting that CBS never showed the replay on it. I couldn't find the video today either, so I didn't see it live. I did see him on the ground afterwards, though, where he looked like he was in serious pain. But Washington, Chase Young is a stud there on that defensive side. I mean, he's stuffed. Joe Burrow was running toward the goal line, got to like the 1 yard line. Chase Young just stuffed him. Joe Burrow fumbled the ball. Washington recovered it. Huge hit. Huge. The number 2 pick takes out the number 1 pick from this year's draft. A.J. Green passed Carl Pickens for the second most receiving TDs in Bengals history, so good for him. Lions-Panthers, woo! I know, those of you that watch this know Matt Patricia has been on my hot seat for 2 years now. He's on the extremely, too hot to sit down seat. He's standing up in the hot room because he needs to go. Carolina Panthers 20, Detroit Lions 0. What makes this worse? McCaffrey's out. Teddy Bridgewater's out. P.J. Walker made his first NFL start in place of Teddy Bridgewater. The former XFL standout had a solid up and down day, proved he deserves to be on an NFL field. He made really good throws, actually. Matthew Stafford's velocity troubled with a thumb injury. But the play calling was the issue. That play calling was atrocious. Run-heady offense on early downs. They didn't do anything while they were running it. They make big plays, wiped out by penalties. They had a 51-yard touchdown to Marvin Jones. Call back because illegal formation. The Detroit team is lost. It can't get out of its own way. The defense is awful. It's like got a hole in the dam. So Matt Patricia's on the he's sitting right, him and Adam Gase are sitting right next to each other. Too hot to sit down seats. You're going is what it should be. Chargers beat the Jets 34-28. Woo! Jets try to win a game. Joe Flacco threw that late interception finally there. But the Chargers had an 18-point lead at halftime, and then they gave it all back in the second. Chargers cannot win a game with a lead, with a big lead. They have to make it close. Keenan Allen dominated as a receiver yesterday. He's the NFL's leading receiver through 10 games. Dang, he's good. You know who else is good? The quarterback. That young rookie quarterback. Dominating. Justin Herbert. Even with his new haircut. Fantastic. Right? So, again, Adam Gase is on the too hot to sit down seat. That's how fire it is. It's going to blow them all out. We talked about the him making the play calls when the guy does it. It's just stupid. Frank Gore, I feel kind of bad for Frank Gore. He's been in the league for 17 years, 18 years as the running back. 0 for whatever, 61 rushing yards, 1 TD. It's just he's got nothing to work with there. Sad he's on that team to finish up his career. He's better than that. He deserves better. So that was the games yesterday, man. Exciting weekend of football finally. Like I said, we're not going to go over the 5-game pick'em because there's a game tonight, and the picks weren't very successful. I'm not going to lie to you. It's kind of ugly for some of us. I'll put them out on Twitter after tonight's game, so probably tomorrow. So again, follow at the Main Event Pod. That's where we do the show notes. So the articles that I referred to on here go posted up on there. Announcements and things. Of course, my personal Twitter is at SMAC500. Give me a follow on there. Post, the personal stuff, the faster stuff on there, reactions to things as it goes through. So give me a follow. SMAC500 on all the socials. Of course, like I put all the videos we showed here out on Twitter over the weekend as they were happening. Of course, as I said, I'm filling in on the Blender today, tomorrow, and Wednesday from 3 to 6. As of now, that's the plan. Wednesday night's radio show will only be a little short, 40-minute one or so. I'll get the details tonight because of GCU basketball. And then I'll get some time on Friday. Like I said, I have a 2-day show at the racetrack. I'll get some time on Friday to get a podcast in. Hopefully, I'm going to try my best there. But I'll put the post out. If not, the next week we start Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So give us a follow. Of course, the live video is up now as soon as this concludes on Facebook. And I'll get it out in the podcast form a couple hours here. It'll go up in the podcast form, so it'll hit all your podcast systems, Spotify, Google Play, all of that. So look for us there. I appreciate everybody watching today. Great weekend. Absolute weekend. Tons of news. It's exciting to see all that happen. I'll see y'all on Wednesday night on the radio show. If not on the Blender, like I said, filling in this week. Otherwise, I'll see y'all then. Have a good one.